You got it?
Yep, recording
All
now.
right, thanks.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
just kind of move around, so thank you.
Thank you. So we're now recording our discussion.
Another
So
thing would be the waterfront.
waterfront, awesome. Waterfront. Do we have any other comments for what are the best things about Rio Vista? And Bob, did you want to speak?
Yes,
Okay,
I agree with the last two comments. And I also like the idea of being able to become a community volunteer to help support the community.
oh, you would like to become a community volunteer to support the community?
I'm saying there are opportunities to do so.
Okay, opportunity.
To help the community prosper.
You help the community prosper. What are some other aspects of the city that you guys love?
This is sort of another way of phrasing that last comment, but the number of service organizations and nonprofits that contribute to the city. I think that's one of the best things that we see.
Great. Do we have additional comments or input for this question here? Okay, I guess we're ready to move on to the next question. Second question is, what could be better about the city in the future?
This is not necessarily in that category, but let me throw out what, kind of one of my pet peeves. At the western entrance, there's the sign that says, historic downtown, points you downtown. And when you go downtown, expecting to see something that tells you that in fact this is a historic downtown, you really don't see anything.
Oh, good point.
And I mean, there's no indication that anything is historic, that what the historic aspect of the city is. And so if that's something that we want to feature, then we need to help people understand that. And again, one of the things that in my mind can help with that, if you see the mural on the bookstore, that gives you essentially what that is a view into what that building was previously. So it shows you that indeed that was a saloon and a barber shop and that sort of thing. And it gives you a sense for what that was. Now, if we had, I mean, there are, I assume there are other historic buildings and that sort of thing that I have no idea, but I have no idea what that history was. And so some means of actually telling people what was historic about this town.
Mhm.
I'm in agreement with what Chris has said. Am I mute or?
No, I hear you. So I'll put times too, so that we have like multiple consensus on this idea, this topic.
And in addition to what Chris is saying, I think if you began at the western entrance with the Asian cemetery with signage indicating what it is.
Okay, so I'll have more signage.
Not only there, but probably in all the other historical buildings in town as well, or possibly using QR codes.
Okay, more signage for other historical buildings or QR codes. What was the other example that you had in Asian cemetery?
At the western entry, as you come to Main Street on the right-hand side is an unidentified cemetery where there are about 20 bodies interred, or at least 20 markers. Instead of the ugly fence that's surrounding that, I'd like to see the fence upgraded so it's more attractive. Excuse me, you're right. And also signage.
Yeah.
There's a tremendous amount of history in that small little area.
I see.
But and then there'd be no place for people to, you know, hang their signs.
Thank you so much for that comment. Do we have any other comments, ideas, suggestions about what could be better about the city in the future?
I have others.
Oh yeah, we have time.
Good. I would love to a permanent performing arts stage.
Permanent performing arts stage.
Also, I would like to have free car parking access to the river. If you want to drive your car up and sit on the river and have lunch or whatever, I don't see any place that you can do that. That's not owned privately. I understand we have the waterfront where you can go outside and have a picnic, but in inclement weather, that doesn't work.
Okay.
And one other thing is the fire hydrants in downtown Rio Vista are rusted, the paint's coming off. Just to have a little retouch on that would be attractive as well.
Can I ask a question? The area, so in regards to the backing up this one to the free car parking access to the river, that area, that big dirt area, is that privately owned? That big dirt area right in front of the, like right next to the car dealership?
I believe it is.
Promenade Park.
Right next to the, yeah, exactly, right next to that big barn.
I could answer that question. I'm not technically supposed to be speaking, but that's formerly the redevelopment property. And so the city needs to get some clearance from the county and the state to start to either sell the property or do something with it.
Oh, okay. Just wondered.
Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you.
It would be nice to have fewer vacant storefronts on Main Street.
Fewer vacant store.
Actually, it'd be better to have none. But
On that note, is there a possibility that vacant stores would be required to have something attractive in their windows? Or at least cleaned up so it doesn't look so forlorn?
So attractive window signage.
In the vacant buildings.
if you wanted to emphasize the historic nature, you could use the vacant storefronts to do that. You know, their windows.
The challenge with the vacant storefronts is they typically are private property, and the owners of the property may just not be particularly interested or motivated to do anything.
So a lot of owners apparently are not interested to do much.
Well, that's kind of the point, is that can the city not require them to keep it looking clean and neat?
Yes, we can require maintenance and, you know, within the bounds of what the city codes describe as allowed.
What-
So
Wonderful.
it's code enforcement, so.
And I'm sure you'd be able to find organizations that would be willing to provide, you know, historic information to these people to display. It's not like they would have to do it themselves.
Mhm.
It can get that information from the Vista Historical Museum, you know. They wouldn't have to go far to get that information.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things I was just going to mention about what could be better about the city in the future, I mean, you know, and I mean, I know this kind of goes into a wider kind of a regional issue, but is the transportation, particularly getting into and out of town, you know, weekdays during the rush hour. I mean, you know, I mean, there's really only one road through town, you know, I mean, 12 and Highway 12. And so, I mean, that it does become extremely backed up, but I mean, that might be a issue or a larger regional issue rather than just a city issue.
It is a big issue, but it's one that the city's well aware needs to be addressed. We have a member of the consulting team, Farron Piers, is really a great traffic engineering firm, and they're specifically going to look at how to address the Highway 12 impacts, that commuter traffic morning and evening that locks the town up. What can we do? And they're going to be giving us near-term, midterm, and long-term ideas. So we know it's a huge issue. So, and that's going to be one of the big points of focus of the general plan.
There is
That's
a
great.
plan. I understand there is a plan with the state to clean up Highway 12 through the city and everything. But so the big issue is how can the city push this plan forward so it gets done sooner rather than later. I think at this point in time, it may be out another 6, 8, 10 years before it actually happens. So how could the city be active in getting this moved up? And it's all about the money, all about the Benjamin, as they say.
Yeah,
I think the interchange that they redid on the other side of the bridge improved traffic flow immensely. And people were complaining about that during the construction. After the construction was finished, all the bitching and complaining went away. But here again, people do complain about the traffic on Highway 12, and they don't realize that Highway 12 is a major corridor for transportation of trucking and everything. And that's not going to go away. That's not going to go away.
No. But if you're just in town, you want to go to one of the businesses on 12 and it's during traffic, it's just really, I can imagine it's very hard on the businesses, and it's, as it is for those of us who just want to go grab a burrito or a hamburger or something, you know.
There are a lot of shortcuts you can take, and you got to figure it out.
Walking is probably the best option.
Build up. There's always a case when you start controlling traffic is the cut throughs, people using Waze and everything to cut through the neighborhoods, and then they get all upset. In fact, that happened a couple of years ago in Los Gatos, all the people going to the beach. Waze was running the cars through the neighborhood, and they decided basically to shut down the access onto Highway 17 through Los Gatos. So you can't get there from here, if you will.
Right.
So, you know, little maybe signal coordination is one of the things they need to do. But again, this is part of the upgrade of Highway 12 that the state is in process of ultimately doing, but who knows when. Just my observation of some things I've read and heard.
I don't think I'm supposed to speak again, but I think that Highway 12 corridor between Trilogy and the bridge is supposed to begin in earnest in 2023, so next year.
Yes, it is. There's what's called a Complete Streets Caltrans project that's going to be bringing improvements, and so we'll certainly see some improvements in the near term. But there is this broader issue of when the commute is on, you can't get from one side of town to the other. So Eunice, are we time to move on to the next question, maybe?
Oh, yes. So sorry. I lost track of time. Okay, so our next question is, what would you like to see in Rio Vista that's not there today? I mean,
Medical offices.
Oh, that's a good one.
Better website, professional,
I'm sorry, Craig, what was that you said?
a better website.
Medical,
medical
any type of medical
offices.
offices or medical facilities.
Offices, and
Our
then,
dentist is local, but it would be nice to have a medical office.
okay, got it. Better websites. Is this regarding the city website?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, of course. Any other suggestions, comments? Okay, I think we've already done, yes.
I'm some form of better communication, and I don't know what that is. I know we have the Beacon. We don't have a daily newspaper. I know that communication seems to be a problem. I just don't know what to say. With local people who want to know what's going on in the community, they seem to turn towards the Beacon and not go towards Facebook or the city website. I don't know how to solve that problem.
Somebody made a comment recently, I think it was on the next door, that one of the mayor used to have a monthly or a weekly comment section in the Beacon, and that went away. And so, and the Beacon is a mom and pop operation, but maybe the city needs to emphasize more communication with the Beacon. There is some on Nextdoor, but even though there's not supposed to view Nextdoor or talk on Nextdoor. So you're right about the communication. I think maybe the website, combination of better website and more activity with the Beacon through the city council would be good avenues, because not everybody is on the internet, and a lot of people refuse to get on it. So that's a big issue in that area. But I think, again, a combination of website and working with the Beacon, and maybe even the city puts out either a monthly or a quarterly report that is gone in the US mail, as well as on the website. It's posted on the website, so you could receive it either way. If you get it through the mail, you can opt out to get it to the mail and get it on the website. But those are suggestions of how the city can communicate with the everyone that lives here, as well as the people that own property that aren't in town.
Thank you, Carl. And is the Beacon a local newspaper?
It's the local newspaper is called the Beacon,
Okay, got it. Thank you. So that's the local newspaper.
and it's a small family-run newspaper.
Got it. Okay.
Along those lines, you could also look at the Suisun City produces a regular email that you can subscribe to that just gives you what's going on in the city. It's just another way.
Sure, like a newsletter. Something like
Right.
that.
Yes. Either monthly or quarterly.
Sure. Okay. Monthly or quarterly. Something else. Let's go on to our next question, which is, what are the 2 to 3 biggest issues in the city that should be addressed? I think we've already touched on some of these topics.
I hate to say it, but sometimes, especially along the river, I've been seeing encampments, places where people have been sleeping overnight.
mm,
Blighted property.
blighted property.
Yeah, like the motel we've been here almost 8 years, and the motel has been in some state of blight ever since.
Going to open up any day now, right?
Yeah.
That's been going on for 10
Yeah,
years.
that's been going on a long time. Yeah.
Which motel is this?
The one on Highway 12 right there next to the liquor store. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's got a name.
Got it.
Right across from,
Oh,
right across the highway from Lyra's.
I thought you meant the one where Raoul Striker Cafe is.
No,
No.
but that too.
Well, that's a private property that someone's going to turn it into office spaces, and that's never happened.
Yeah.
So that's all in limbo.
It looks a little better though now.
Well, they cleaned up the outside, no doubt, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's still an empty facility.
Yeah,
I think
hotel's
maybe
up
part
there,
of
too,
this-
but it never opens.
Part of these combined issues is code enforcement. Because
Right.
even though the city has a code section, it's not as enforced as regularly as should be, even though they did hire somebody that's in Trilogy to be the code enforcement officer.
Yeah.
It's a matter
Can I-
of moving along with that.
Can I bring up something that we live in town, right near the dock, and sometimes in the summer especially, people will park their boats or their
Oh.
trucks with their hitches to avoid paying in the lot.
Yeah.
Well, the only option there is they put up a sign, no trailer parking.
Yeah.
You know, but now that you mention it, also along South Front Street, this is where we reside, truckers are parking their trucks for the 18-wheel trucks for extended periods of time.
And then you
And
get a policy is no vehicles over 18 feet parking.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, it comes on to code enforcement and or police enforcement of traffic enforcement and parking enforcement.
Yeah.
Well, then we need to provide a space or a place for these truckers to park. Everything that comes to your house comes on a truck at one point in time.
Yeah.
Have nothing against trucks. I just don't want.
Oh,
Yeah,
I-
it's just prolonged parking in a residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
Yeah, it's not just a matter of them coming into town. That's totally fine, obviously, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you're talking about the 18 wheelers where the guys have to camp out overnight or during the day because they've maxed out their time on the road.
Right.
right.
I think we need to address the vacant storefronts.
Yep. It's a challenge.
Thank you
My
so
con-
much.
I have one more concern or
Sure.
another concern. I'm concerned about the sidewalks in Trilogy. Some of them are cracked and can create issues for walking.
Well, that's a Trilogy issue. So that's not a city
Oh,
issue.
I'm sorry. I meant Rio Vista
Oh, in the town.
in the town. City property,
Uneven sidewalks and broken concrete.
yes.
Do we have any other last suggestions? Paul, would you know how much more time we have?
I think, Eunice, we're getting pretty close. I haven't seen the timer come up yet, so I'll check back with you in just a moment.
Thank you.
2 minutes. 2 minutes and counting. 2:10.
Okay,
I got the
I'm
timer on
not
my
seeing the
screen.
timer, but thank you.
I
Oh,
see
there it
why.
is. Yeah, there it is. It's up at the top of mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see it.
2 minutes, 2-minute warning.
We had
So
a timeout.
any, it looks like we have some good comments. Anything else that you're looking to see in Rio Vista that's not here today? Is there any need that's not being met? Really thinking in big picture kind of things.
I went
Yeah.
online, I went
If we-
online and answered a lot of the questions. And one of the things I think that would help the city and the businesses is to see how they can encourage wine art festivals from coming into town and promoting it well. A lot of, in the past, of course, COVID shut down a lot of this stuff, but moving forward, these types of events draw people from outside of the area and they need good
So,
promotion.
so
and PR.
wine under what we'd like to see, wine art festivals, but maybe just festivals in general.
Wine is a
Um,
big seller. We got a lot of wineries around the area here that could participate. So that's why
Indeed.
wine art.
Rhode Island,
Chris, did you have one?
Yeah, if we want to encourage people, and I think we do, to visit the city and, through whatever means it might be, it would be sort of nice to have a place for them to stay if they in fact wanted to stay here for 2 or 3 days. So there's really, there's very limited facilities for overnight stays for tourists coming in.
So that also would be under the third question of what we would like to see that's not here today.
That's
Is
true.
more hotels, more events and more hotels for people coming to the events.
Right.
Yes.
More tourist attractions. I would love to see the people out in the airport perhaps have airport rides of some sort. Balloon festivals, on dive tours, things that our local people can have or do have, but open them to the public.
Great. Okay, so it looks like we're into our last minute before this closes out. Any last thoughts anyone wants to put out? Eunice, do we have somebody who's going to report for us?
Yes, I will be reporting since we didn't have a volunteer from the group, but would someone like to volunteer to provide a summary to our main group? If not, I can share our discussion.
Sounds like you've been volunteered, Eunice.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you, everyone, for your input.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Anne, was it Balloon Festival for the?